All right. Let's talk about the NFL wide receiver market. A lot of buzz this week with two players specifically, and let's talk about the first player from America's team being CeeDee Lamb. In a little interview by Jerry Jones, he was asked about the contract talks with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, those who know, second in receiving yards last season, 1,700 yards, 12 touchdowns, 135 catches. He said, quote, "I don't have any urgency to get it done." CeeDee Lamb quote tweeted it and said, LOL. Is Jerry Jones' ego too big, or does Jerry Jones have a point? Is Jerry Jones psychotic? What is your take on the whole Cowboys CeeDee Lamb situation? Go.
Yeah, my whole thing is Jerry Jones is insane. I don't know if you heard the soundbite, or actually, I don't know if you saw the soundbite. I don't mean to get political on everyone. The dude had a Joe Biden moment. He just started laughing hysterically for no reason and just was basically like, "Oh yeah, we're basically not too inclined to get it done as soon as possible." And here's what I really don't understand: is I try to find the odds for Offensive Player of the Year this year, because I'd be curious to see how close CeeDee Lamb is to that, because this is a guy first in receptions last year, second in yards receiving, third in touchdowns, and it's not like the Cowboys are looking across the NFL market and seeing, all right, what is fair to pay CeeDee Lamb? We talked about this on the show that I'm on earlier in the week, and it makes so much sense. The only person that doesn't have a deal yet is Brandon Aiyuk. But you look at the deals. Tyreek Hill has a rework deal. Justin Jefferson has a rework deal. Instant star wide receiver here, they have a rework deal. They know exactly what CeeDee Lamb is worth. There's no excuse now not to pay him. So now it's basically, are you going to pay him or are you going to trade him? And Stephen Jones basically said, yeah, we're not trading the guy. Okay, that's fine. So pay him. What are you doing? Now you're just causing unnecessary stress to an organization that I have strong belief in will win the NFC East this year. And now when you continue to add that continued distraction to the locker room, to the team, it makes me believe, again, loud off seasons lead to disappointing regular seasons, and then I start to really lose faith in the Dallas Cowboys really repeating this year as the NFC East champions, because the organization from top to bottom is showing clear signs of dysfunction. Yeah, and this is a guy 25 years old. Every year he's been, besides his rookie year, 935 yards. He's played in every single game. He's had over 1,100, 1,300, 1,700 yards every single season. And not only the production on the field is one thing. You can't afford to lose a CeeDee Lamb. If you lose a CeeDee Lamb on your team, it's more valuable than a Dak Prescott. And this team doesn't even, in my opinion, sniff the playoffs without CeeDee Lamb there. You're going to have Brandon Cooks as your number one wide receiver. Guys like Jalen Tolbert. I read you off the whole wide receiver core last year, and you thought I was making up names. Yeah. And I was only going through the second team of wide receivers. So I think for Jerry Jones, you got to leave your ego at the door. This is a guy in CeeDee Lamb. We'll talk about Brandon Aiyuk in a second. But this is a guy in CeeDee Lamb who deserves just as much money as the A.J. Browns, $32 million, the Amon-Ra St. Browns, the Tyreek Hills at $30 million apiece. I think the one wide receiver that kind of flipped the market and kind of confused, and kind of, I guess, put pressure on the Cowboys and other teams to pay these wide receivers is both DJ Moore and Jalen Waddle. Don't get me wrong, they deserve their money, but $28, $27 million was definitely more than I expected, because I thought they were going to get around 25, 23. Them getting that kind of pushes the market a little more for CeeDee Lamb to get around $35, $34 million a year. And just to kind of talk about the odds as well, what I'm seeing is about plus 950, the third shortest odds to win Offensive Player of the Year this year. CeeDee Lamb is a lot of the Dallas Cowboys offense. Dak Prescott, I think, is a fine quarterback. I don't think he's a top 10 guy, or I should say I don't think he's a top 8 guy. I don't think he's a bottom 15 guy. I think he's somewhere in the middle, and I think that's very arguable. If you take CeeDee Lamb from him, he's going to take another step back, like a lot of quarterbacks do when they don't have their number one guy. And now it really leads into the, okay, if they don't have a timetable when they want to get this done, is CeeDee Lamb going to play in the first couple weeks of the season.
That was like I heard on Get Up too, because they were talking about Jamar Chase. It's like the same thing where the Bengals don't really have any urgency to pay Jamar Chase, and I forget who it was, but I think it was Louis Riddick or whatever talking about saying, hey, Jamar, you should definitely sit out because you deserve that money. You've proven it on the field that you're a capable top 5 wide receiver year in and year out. For CeeDee Lamb, it's like the same thing. Again, the money that he's going to lose and, the want and him being able to play football and the love for it, I'm sure he's not going to sit out the whole year. But if he does, it's one of those situations. It's like, you know what, CeeDee? I don't blame you.
Yeah,
I don't blame you.
I would agree with you. If I was a player, and I heard this from Jody Ayler from the drive that I'm on during the week, if I was an elite player, I would hold out every single year and just get a rework deal every single. And I was like, that's kind of crazy, but I get where you're going with that. And so the CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase thing is interesting because the market is set. Now decide to pay them or trade them.
Yeah, are we getting to a situation now where it's like the NBA where players have control over teams and I guess leeway if for contracts or wanting to get traded if they don't have a contract? I don't know if we are, because I think football is so many positions. It's a lot broader than I guess for basketball, where I want to get traded and you could send your way somewhere else. But do you think we're getting to that aspect, or do you think it's only just the wide receiver market and some of those elite guys where it's kind of, I guess, different, if that makes sense?
Yes, yeah, the last part of what you said. The top 1%, yes. Everyone else, no.
That's where it's like Jamar and CeeDee, it's that top 1%. And
yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like for Brandon Aiyuk, his situation with the 49ers, is he that elite of a wide receiver?
He's more upper middle class, right?
I think he's the same level as a DJ Moore. That I would put them
I think
in the
it's
same
very
class.
fair. I think it's completely fair. The Brandon Aiyuk thing, I mean, this is just a Brandon Aiyuk issue now. As much as I would love to...
So tired of hearing about all this Brandon Aiyuk stuff.
As much as I would
day.
just want to slam the San Francisco 49ers, because, I grew up not loving the San Francisco 49ers. I got to be honest. I got to cut him some credit here. He had a $32 million deal with the New England Patriots that he was like, I just don't want to play for you. And then the Browns offered another deal. I think it was $30 million or something like that. He's like, no, I just don't want to play for you. Dude, take a discount with the 49ers and play with the quarterbacks and the offensive system that they have that you enjoy, or go get your money and go be irrelevant somewhere. You can't have everything. And the saying goes, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, it doesn't make any sense with the Brandon Aiyuk thing, because it's literally just him at this point. Like, I kind of feel bad for the Niners, where it's like they've kind of done him right, outside from the fact that John Lynch has basically let it get it to this point. The Brandon Aiyuk thing is like, dude, make a decision. Now you are the distraction of the Niners locker room, and if I was them, I would just ship the guy off. That's how much of a distraction he's been.
Yeah, I think if they do ship him, the rumors of Amari Cooper into Cleveland Browns is definitely something intriguing, because you got a guy like Amari Cooper, similar skill sets. He's a lot older than Brandon Aiyuk, but if you're a win-now situation, that's a plug-and-play. Amari Cooper, a veteran, great route runner, can take the top off your defense, kind of what Brandon Aiyuk was doing for the 49ers. But also, too, if the 49ers can keep him around for Brandon Ayuk's sake, if you're Brandon Aiyuk, Deebo Samuel's got one more year on his contract until he's a free agent in 2026. So I guess he has a player option void, and he's about to be 30 years old. He's 28 right now, 29 in 2025, and then 30. Do you kind of look ahead if you're Brandon Aiyuk and say, you know what, let me try to ball out this season and then have the 49ers make a decision between me and Deebo on who they want to keep? Because Deebo is utilized in the running game and obviously in the receiving game as well, but that's a guy that's not really – he's hurt all the time, and he's approaching 30, whereas Ayuk's around 26 right now.
Yeah, if you're Brandon Aiyuk, go get your money now. Because you're coming off a career year. It's very obvious that he's probably seen that he's going to get phased out of the offense just a little bit, because Ricky Pearsall's now there. Jawan Jennings was probably the Super Bowl MVP last year had the Chiefs don't win that. So he probably understands, like, go get your money now. I wouldn't be that guy that is to go and chance it, like, ever. I would just take the $28 million a year and do that. But Brandon Aiyuk clearly understands where he's at in the totem pole on the offensive side of the ball, not even just the defense, right? So that's why he's putting holding the 49ers' feet to the fire. And credit to the Niners, they've put him in positions where he could get fat deals somewhere. But he just won't do it. So at this point, it's a Brandon Aiyuk issue, not a Niners issue.